Yeah, absolutely excited to have all of Crooked Kings on the podcast today, guys. How you been?
Doing
Great.
well.
Excited
Doing
to be
good,
here.
yeah.
So I guess usually where I start with everybody is the music that you kind of grew up listening to, the music your parents listened to. What kind of developed that interest in music in the first place for you guys?
Yeah. I can fire off on this one. My parents are kind of old hippies. So my dad was a big Grateful Dead fan. Traveled around the country when he was in college, dropped out of college for a year to go see Dead shows. So I grew up a lot on that kind of like classic rock stuff, and I think that kind of influenced a lot of the guitar playing and stuff, and got me into the music in the first place.
Yeah, for me, I don't know, my parents, I feel like were big radio people. Like they weren't huge into like I don't know. I feel like any albums when I was younger, and then when I got older, like my dad always played NPR in the car. That was like his move. And I feel like as I got older, I don't know. I kind of started playing music and got interested in it, and I don't know. I kind of had a phase where I was going into like 80s and 90s music, and then he turned out he loved like the Smiths and all this stuff in college, and I was like, what the heck? I never knew.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like forming, I don't know. I feel like honestly, I kind of really started getting into music when I started playing it, and then like sort of, I don't know, found myself liking certain songs, and then I was like, oh, I really like I guess indie rock and that kind of genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty similar to Paul, where my dad was a big Deadhead, moved out from back east out to Utah, following them, and then he always would. I grew up watching him jam in the basement with his friends, playing Dead songs and stuff. So yeah, just like classic rock, a lot of jam band stuff, and that was fun.
Similar thing. Me, Paul, and Matt are kind of always in the same boat on this one. But my dad was definitely a Deadhead, and um, yeah, kind of just like the classics, Zeppelin, all the classic rock hits, and then like a good amount of Tom Petty, and you know all the vibes.
Yeah, for me, I guess my parents listened to like Billy Joel and James Taylor, and yeah, that's my those are my go-to answers for that, I guess.
Fitting from the Piano Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And look where you are now.
yeah.
Ben
And I
Folds.
listened to a lot of Ben Folds and Regina Spektor growing up, so it makes sense. A lot of like piano rock stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So I am curious of the Deadhead. So is what's a live album? As someone who I've never been able to jump into the Grateful Dead because it's like 1.5 million live albums that you could pick from to listen to because that's where you got to start. It feels like. What's a live album you'd recommend listening to kind of introduce yourself to it?
First one that comes to mind is Europe 72, and it's one of the few on Spotify actually. I feel like there's not really all that many. I mean, it's such an interesting culture because, like, that was like people were kind of like almost pirating live tapes and like holding up giant mics in the crowds at the Dead shows and like trading cassette tapes across generations and stuff like that. And now, I guess in the digital era, it's like I don't know if it's like people are just loyal to like analog tape trading, but it's I don't know. It's I haven't found a great place to like find a lot of live sets. I guess in this era, but Europe 72 is pretty solid.
Yeah, I got my dad for Christmas, like I want to say like 5 years ago or something, like a membership to something where like every month he'd get like a Grateful Dead live album in the mail. It was
Amazing.
pretty cool. It's like they like pride themselves on. Well, I don't even know if they prep like it was about like doing it, but or if they just kind of happenstance. Like every show would be unique, which was cool. Like that they. So it's like no matter what CD you're getting, it's like always gonna be like a little surprise, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I feel like my recommendation would be I had a friend who's a pretty big Deadhead, and he said it's the album you're not supposed to play because it's so like high regarded. But Cornell, and like I think it's 1977. That's a great one. It's on Spotify too. But I feel like that really like I find myself going back and listening to a lot of those songs, especially like Brown Eyed Woman. Love that one. But
Yeah,
yeah,
amazing. Definitely a good place for me to jump off here when I decide to dive into that discography. So you guys have a new album coming out here in March called "In Another Life," and the singles kind of ahead of it feel like a little bit of a departure from what you guys what your normal sound was, kind of excuse me, like ahead of it. Why like the sonic change, and maybe give us a little bit of story on the album coming out.
He wants it. I was just gonna say, like, I think for starters, like, we're working with a new producer, and that's like obviously gonna kind of inherently have like a new sonic direction. Because the last two albums were both with Jackson Phillips, like Daywave. Now we're working with Eve Rothman, and they definitely have like a pretty different kind of approach. I'd say like Eve's more loud and proud, like everyone's like in the studio space with headphones, like proper like a live room, like really hashing out every like little thing, and like miking up all the amps and doing like 10 guitar takes of like the same thing, but like on each different pickup on each different guitar, and like really like so I think in that sense it feels less like bedroom and a little more um fleshed out and kind of like rock vibes, like something more like akin to like how we'll perform live.
I feel like, to go off that, Quinn, I remember the first time we like started working with Eve. We like went into this live room, and it was like the first time any of us have been like in a live room. And we started playing for maybe 30 seconds, and he came in. He was like, "I can just tell the energy you guys have together live." And he's like, he really wanted to capture that because, like what we said, we've been very like bedroom before, and so he was like, I think one of his biggest goals is like, I want to capture this live sounding feel that you guys have and transfer that onto the record. And I think that's kind of why it sounds a little bit more, like Americana rock rather than like bedroom pop. So
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of us have all been really influenced by those big, stadium rock bands of the early 2000s too. I think we all have a pretty diverse taste in within the indie rock genre, but I think the bands we all kind of come back to are The Strokes, Killers, Cage the Elephant, and I think all of those bands, while they have their own kind of different sound, it all feels like very big live room. I think it translates to a stage really well, and I think
Yeah.
that was kind of what came across in this record.
Anybody else before I move on?
I feel like that was well said.
Good. All right. So I guess of the three singles out so far, you have one that I posted recently about. It's called "My Friend Max," and I really enjoyed that one. Can I just kind of maybe the story behind that one? Who is this friend Max? Is this a real person in your guys' life? Yeah, just kind of the story there.
Yeah, when we were at the studio with Eve, I remember he like was pushing us just to, I don't know, I think we were writing a bunch of lyrics, and I think lyrically like Eve was, I don't know, I think really pushed us on this record to try to like, I don't know, be uncomfortable and stuff. So yeah, My Friend Max is just about one of my friends, and kind of, I don't know, I think an experience of like, I think like the side of friendship where maybe, you haven't been the best friend. I don't know. I think it's maybe a feeling that people feel a lot, but it's also not one that's like very comfortable for yourself to say, and kind of like look in the mirror and like look at, I don't know, I guess like where you are at and how you feel about where you're at and what you're doing. So I feel like that was like the main inspiration for like that song.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
introspection gets hard, doesn't it? Especially to look at yourself and feel like you've done something wrong, even though you got friends is an odd space to be in.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Do you guys find yourself being more collaborative as songwriters? Did this new producer kind of force that upon you, or you guys have you always been that way?
Yeah, I think a lot more of the record this time was written in like all together. I feel like last time we had like, I mean, we had more time for this record. So the previous records with like Jackson, I think the first one we did in like a week, and then the next one we did in like 2 weeks, which was crazy. So we kind of had, I guess, everything hashed out. And then when we were with Jackson, it was just like record, and every day we just like went person by person. And then this one was much more like, I don't know, I guess asking a lot more questions. Like the other guys can obviously add on this, but yeah, I felt like it was way more collaborative than our previous stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like too just collaborative, and also just like we had more time. Like you said, like it took a lot longer, and like it was just every little thing was like we were like stewing on it, and it's like we're rather than like the last couple albums maybe we were like, oh, like yeah, it's like we just didn't kind of think, we just kind of like it was all just like flow state, just keep on moving, and like not that that was like that wasn't a bad thing at all. I think that like we're really proud of those albums, and like really proud of this one too. It's just like totally kind of different mindset. It's just like these ones, Eva's like, all right, we're gonna try to beat this lyric, and it's like for every lyric on every song on the album, it's like can you guys beat it? He's like texting us late at night, what, like we can beat that, come on, like it's like it was way more like work rather than just kind of like, oh yeah, like that sounds cool. Like I don't know, he kind of forced us to really make every note like count.
I feel like we also just do a good job of, leaning on each other with parts and stuff like that. Of like, someone will be a little lost, or like, like I'll have trouble with like a bass, or like I'll look to like Ollie or Quinn or Paul and Dave, and they'll like kind of like help steer in direction. I feel like that kind of goes throughout the band, and I think that's why like some of our stuff is like really like meaningful to all of us, is because we all kind of like put our own touch, and it's personal to everyone in the band rather than just like one person writing it. So
Yeah, I feel like it's always been collaborative, but I think since we've been doing this for as long as we have, there's so much trust in the band to kind of lean on each other for, developing individual parts and lyrics and song structure. I think everyone just feels a lot more confident in each other's ability to put together a song, that we can lean on each other in that way that Matt was kind of talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like bouncing off that, I feel like no one's like selfish. It's like everyone at the end of the day wants this every song to be as good as it possibly can be. Whether that's like if I'm just like can't figure out a drum part, and like someone's like, dude, just you know, like how about this, and they just do mouth drums. But like I don't know, we're all like fully like in it together, like fucking synergy, and just like all right, whatever like we can come up with together, like we have five minds. And that's like the beautiful part about a band, is like it's not like some solo project. It's like we're putting together like the best foot of that we can find, but between the five of us, which is always nice.
Anybody else? Dave? Anything?
Yeah, I think they said all there is to say, really. Yeah, I think we've always been collaborative, but it's just been more time to discuss, like they said. I guess I'll do that's the summary. If you need the quote or whatever.
So you guys, Paul, you talked about how you guys have been making music for this is your third studio album in 5 years. Is that right? I think if I remember correctly.
The fourth.
Fourth. Across these 6 years you've been making albums, how has your just approach in general changed? You've talked about this flow state times, but has anything else kind of changed in the way you guys approach albums?
Yeah, I mean, I think, or Dave, you go, Dave.
Oh, sorry.
Here, go.
I wasn't making that face at you. Um, uh, yeah, I think the the I think we've just become better collaborators in general when approaching albums. Um, I think the first album we did, there's a lot of synth lines and lead guitar lines that end up kind of overlapping in a way that I would be critical of. I'm sure many people like it, but I think we've learned to work around each other musically and focus on the song, like Quinn was saying. Just trying to make the best song rather than write our best part or whatever. I think we've definitely taken a more like song forward approach. Making the whole greater than the sum of its parts when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I feel like the first records too. I mean, at least for me, I don't know. I feel like I was pretty new to songwriting in general, and I think everyone else. I don't know. I'm obviously now we're much more experienced than we were then. But yeah, I feel like a lot of it was just like figuring stuff out for ourselves. And like, yeah, like the first record we did, we went down like St. George to a house, and I think, I don't know, Quinn joined the band like how long before that?
Not much before that. I think like they initially hit me up to like between drummers or whatever, and they're like, hey, like we need some drum help for like a couple demos, and then like did that, and then they were like, oh, we actually like, got like a record like contract. Like, do you want to just like join the crew? And I was like, hell yeah, that's sick. Like we didn't really know each other that well. Like me and Matt, like I think I pretty much met him like, picking me up to like go drive down to record this album. Like we weren't beefing, but like we just didn't know each other. And then now it's blossomed into a beautiful friendship.
The greatest friendships, start a little rocky. That's what we say. I don't know if that's true, but that's what we say, and we're tight. Yeah, Quinn, wasn't the first time we were like literally going to a show and we drove down to LA at the dojo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it was just a lot of. We really were just like shooting from the hip, and then I think over time, basically, I think we've gotten more and more like, I don't know, but if it's critical or just like serious about like each thing we want. I guess more intentional is the right way to say it. I think the first one, I mean, not that we weren't intentional, obviously didn't care, but like I think that record is a lot of us just like figuring out even who Krooked Kings is, what we want to make, and then I think slowly over time we've kind of been refining that into probably more of like a specific lane, that we want to like capture and like be about.
I also think working with the producers that we've been able to work with over time, I feel like from working with Jackson from Daywave, I feel like I personally just learned so much about like arranging songs and how parts kind of fit together. Whereas our first record, The Come Down, we were working with more of like an engineer who was just kind of like recording the parts, and we'd like ask him for feedback of like, do you think this works here? And he's like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. Whereas, I think having kind of like that sixth member that is the producer kind of helps you kind of see the forest through the trees, I guess, and give you that kind of critical feedback that's necessary to understand like what the priorities of making the song the best it can be is.
Good. So in terms of the band name itself, right? I feel like you guys have probably touched on this in other interviews and things. Where's Krooked Kings come from? Who do you guys collaboratively decide this, or is just like need a name, gotta pick?
Yeah, so it was definitely just like need a name, got to pick type situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I started playing guitar and like I don't know, I guess like my first songwriting stuff was in college, and I posted some stuff on like SoundCloud, and it was just like I don't know, garage band with like my headphones plugged in recording acoustically. But anyways, I got hit up by like this, it was called Afton Shows, I think, but I think it was a scam show. And they were like, hey, do you want to come perform, like this is the deal. I don't know if I had to pay like a small amount to play, and then it was like if you sell so many tickets you get money. But anyways, right when that happened, I was like, oh, I want to play with a band. So a guy that was a friend of mine in college, he was in a band called the Face Cards, and so I was kind of like thinking of face cards, and then I thought of a king card, and I was like, oh, Krooked Kings. Yeah, and then we just never changed it, I guess. I don't know. We've like had conversations about it, but yeah, I don't know. I think we've grown to like love it in our own way. At least I have. I mean, I guess the rest of the band could speak on that, but yeah, it was
And
definitely
speaking from personal experience, I'd been in like crappy garage bands all through middle school and high school, and every single band I was in could never settle on a name that they were happy with. So when I joined and Ollie had the name, I was like, perfect, great, let's roll with it. Sounds good. And I think it's kind of come to mean more to us over the years, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own.
I feel like too, like over time, like a band name, like you kind of stop thinking about the words and it just becomes like the title.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like you think of Arctic Monkeys, you don't like you're not thinking of like monkeys like in Antarctica or some shit. It's
Sure.
like you picture the band, and that's like become at this point. And not that we're like on that scale at all, but like I feel like at this point it's just like that's just who we are, and that's like what the fans have come to love, and like that's just what it is. Like that's just that's who we are. So
Heard. Yeah, I hear that. So in terms of, obviously being an artist requires you guys to do so many different things. And the social media piece is a whole other monster. Do you guys enjoy the social media piece? Does one of you handle all of it, or is it a giant collaborative effort to try to figure out what the algorithm desires? Or
Yeah, I mean, I feel like on the Instagram side, we're all pretty collaborative, and we've like, I don't know, especially with like this new record, um, kind of just wanted to put more of a, I don't know, I guess just more, I guess once again, intentional foot forward with our um, content, and it's one of those things where I think we kind of mutually agreed upon. It's like it might not get the most clicks or might not be the most engaging in terms of algorithm, but if it I think builds to like the image we want to build, and also like I think the right people that see it really care about it, even if it doesn't do well in the algorithm, and help them, I don't know, help people make feel connected, I guess, to the band in a way that we want to. And then on the TikTok side, yeah, I don't know, I don't really enjoy promoting like self promotion. I think it's like vulnerable, and I don't know, it's a lot of, I don't know, dealing with comments and like people have an opinion about, I don't know, the way you promote, which is obviously super hard to deal with at times. But I will say I really enjoy what it does for the band, and I think has given us a lot of opportunities. So it's kind of a double edged sword in that way, where it's really hard in that way, and I wish it wasn't the case, but also I really do appreciate kind of the success we've found on it, and also the fans. There's been a lot of people that for the critics, there's people that are equally awesome, and I think have found our music and really connected with it. Um, and yeah, and I think also we're trying to pivot to get the band more band content and just like more fun stuff for us, to
yeah,
make it more entertaining and make it enjoyable and not such like, oh, this is, a job.
good.
I concur.
I
Yeah, I
concur.
think you nailed it.
Yeah, it's a tough space, like especially for artists to find that happy medium of where it doesn't feel like it's this cumbersome thing to do all the time. And I think you guys are in a good spot. You've been around long enough that you have like a really established core base of fans that you're not um you don't have to those connections are made in large part. But yeah, I mean the social media piece is like, even I don't understand it. I don't understand why I'm it's such a weird place. I don't, even today I'm still trying to figure it out. So I think as long as you're doing something that feels good to you, you're probably in a good space.
For sure.
yeah, it's
Um,
definitely a bizarre world. But I think we said this the other day, but I feel like it's just at the end of the day, like we're most passionate about the music, and like sure sometimes you tickle the algorithm or whatever, but like the end goal is for people to listen to like what we've crafted, and that's like what like is kind of the bottom line.
yeah, 100%. So a question I get to with everybody now is, and I'll probably just do this where every one of you will pick one album. So I go, if you guys were teaching a music class, it would be five like required listening albums for the class. It should be just specific to your taste. Usually I'll just do five from the one person, but it got five of you here, so one feels like a good spot. A very tough question, but that's usually where it's a fun one.
Mm.
He wants to go first. Dave Nation.
I don't want to go first. looking on my phone right now, trying to find something.
I can go first. I got one actually that I enjoy. I think a big album that I really enjoy is self-titled Third Eye Blind album, Third Eye Blind. I feel like I just
Good call.
really like that. I remember being a kid and like hearing those songs like Jumper and Semi Charmed Life, whatever, and that stuck with me. And I remember just being in the van and like having time to drive and like going back and listening to those albums were just pretty impactful to me, and I find myself coming back to them a lot. So
Yeah, I would say when I started songwriting, like the first album I feel like I really got into is For Emma Forever Ago by Bon Iver. I don't know. I love that record. I came home like kind of from a mission. I think I was in a very emotional place, and so I feel like yeah, I don't know, fell in love with music a lot during that time, and I feel like that album, I don't know, is really sad but equally like comforting. Feels like really like a, I don't know, feels like a specific time in my life or something when I listen to it. And I think it has that effect on a lot of people. So that's why I would, yeah, do that one.
Probably have to go In Another Life by Crooked Kings.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's kind of a generic one, but I keep coming back to it, and it's like every time I listen to it, it's just like such an immersive experience. Is Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. It's just it completely takes you on a journey from start to finish, and the way the songs just kind of, you know, blend into one another. It's just it's a perfect album in my opinion.
I got one. I'm gonna say Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix by Phoenix.
Ooh.
I
Great.
think, especially just in regards to like the genre that we're in, I think that's like the pinnacle of like indie festival banger music, and it's just like I don't know, it's catchy and it's perfect
Yes.
and it's poppy and it's fun. I don't know, I love it. But
I was
that's
just
my
kind of
answer.
flipping through a couple records. You guys can be like, "Oh God, here he goes." But I'm just gonna throw out Grizzly Bear's Yellow House. That's like a really that was like super. Yeah,
Mm.
I know.
God, here he goes.
No,
I thought you were
I
gonna
was
say
thinking.
King
I did.
Gizzard's
I was
whole
looking at one.
discography.
Yeah, I feel like that album, like Grizzly Bear, for me in high school was like when I kind of started listening to like my own, like finding my own way, and it was like, getting weaned off like Tom Petty and all that shit from my parents. Which like I love that music, but like that's when I first like kind of started finding like a little more experimental and like
Right.
just finding myself, and like I'd say that album is really just means a lot to me.
Amazing. Well done. Sometimes it's a little bit of a rocky road through those, so you guys did good. And I guess we'll go again, kind of one from everyone. The song in your, in the Crooked Kings discography that you're most proud of.
I'm just gonna go before someone else takes it, but I'd say "Letter to a Past Self" is like probably my favorite song that we've done. I mean, at least in like every out of everything that's out right now, I'd say that one. Just super great album opener. I think like so meaningful. Like I had very little to do with that song lyrically, but like yet the lyrics like really speak to me so much that it's like I don't know. I'm just like happy to be a part of that one.
I feel like kind of like a deep cut, but I'm really proud of Roll Credits.
Oh mine.
I just really like that. The bass line for me was kind of venturing into something new. I remember like just jamming that with Ollie before, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna try this out." And then when we actually all finished the song together, it was just kind of like this bittersweet song that sounds really like nice, but then like the lyrics are kind of like a theme we have, where the lyrics are a little bit more like hard cutting, and so I feel like that one doesn't get a lot of praise, but I really like that song. So yeah.
I'm
I'll
gonna
say,
go
oh,
ahead.
I'm going for it. I don't know when this is coming out or when this will be out, but our next single that's coming out, Ugly Love, is I think it's just like a really cool, refreshing direction for us. I think it's I don't know. I just love the like sonic palette of it or whatever is it just very different for us, and I think that's could be a source of pride. I don't know. That's a hard question because it's like what makes you proud of a song, I guess. Um, but I'll say that's the one I'm most proud of because I think it's sick as fuck.
I'm gonna go with Headhunters, just because that guitar riff is one of my favorite things I've ever written, and I feel like the lyrics are just kind of once again biting, and I feel like it was one of those situations where we were all writing together and we were all very much on the same page and kind of like discontented at the state of, our music careers and stuff like that, and the, rings you have to kiss to kind of get ahead in this business, I guess. And it felt right, and I think we were all kind of just like in the same headspace with it. So it holds a lot of meaning to me.
For me, I think it would. I mean, I really love "Letter to a Past Self," the one Quinn mentioned. I think that one. I don't know. Yeah, I think just lyrically is. I don't know. I guess like potent and like is really direct, which I really enjoy. I would say, I guess like a moment was I think when we were all recording, kind of with Jackson, it was like the last record, but we were listening. I think it was like we recorded "Lying Through Their Teeth" or something in the car, or I guess that day, and then on the way home we listened to it in the car because he like sent us a bounce. And I remember, I don't know, it was all of us just kind of looking at each other, and I think I don't know. I feel like that was like my favorite moment listening to a song, and maybe like kind of. I don't know if I'm most proud of that song, but like that moment was really cool. I think that I like come back to. We're all just I don't know in California. We're all from Utah. It feels like very surreal, and we just recorded this, with a artist that we all listened to and really appreciated. So I think that moment was just really awesome.
So I live my life in music curation. So I always ask to give me an artist or a song that you're really into recently.
I saw. I only have two songs saved, but I was watching a ski edit, and there was a song in it, and it's called "Nerves" by Ear. Um, but I need to look more into them. But I've been really enjoying just these two songs. I don't know. I've kind of just been looping them, so I need to now dive more into their discography because I'm pretty addicted.
I'll say I've been listening to the latest Ethel Cain record a lot lately, especially the song Nettles, which is really cool. It's like it takes like 5 minutes for the drums to come in, but when they do, you're just like, oh yeah, that's that good
Sounds like
shit. So
just
I know
chilling
that's a
for
good
5 minutes,
song.
pounding beers.
Yeah, it gives you some time to pound your beers
That's what
before
I'm
the
saying.
drums hit. That would be good for you, Quinn. We should cook that.
I feel like one song, I don't know if it's supposed to be song or album, but I What Kind of Music by Tom Misch and Yusuf Days. I
Uh,
remember just we were driving back from San Diego. I unfortunately had the first shift back after the show the night before, and so like everyone else was passed out in the van, and I was kind of like looking for a new sound. Kind of bored my music, and like I've known Tom Misch, but I never really did like a deep dive. And I just remember we were driving, sitting in traffic on the highway going from San Diego up to LA, and that came on, and it's just the drums are on it are so cool. I remember showing Quinn, and just like he really enjoyed them, but that's a really cool song. So that whole album's pretty cool, to be honest. But
I'm kind of late to the hype train on this one, but I like just got into Sam Fender, and I think it's off his last record, but Angel and Lothian is a song that I've just kind of been having on repeat lately.
I'll take up the rear. I've been really bumping. Where is it? Episodes or episode singular by Ben Queller and Michigander. I don't really know Michigander, but like I got super into Ben Queller over the last like couple years, and like I don't know how I missed him when I was younger, but he was like this kind of early 2000s, like slightly like a little underground, but like just like super, that's like legendary. Yeah, exactly.
Another
But he's
piano
like he has
rock
a new
legend.
album that came out I think like last year that was really good, and then this new single that's like I think he's featured on is like just such a banger.
Yeah, yeah. I know Michigander. We talk regularly, so that's funny. Uh, so I guess kind of in wrapping up, you guys have the album coming out. What is one thing you want fans to kind of take away once this album is out and in the world, and apart from that, what can we look forward to?
yeah. I mean, I think I think with his album, honestly, a lot of it is about, I don't know, maybe I think it's really introspective and looking in at this like current time in your life, and also I think kind of comparative about where you thought you'd be versus like where you are. I think is kind of like uh, a recurring, I don't know, I guess theme throughout the record. And I guess the thing, I don't know, I guess I would personally want people to know, and I guess we're trying to publicize is like being there is like okay, and you don't, like it's chill to not have everything work out perfect storybook way, and I don't know, I guess that's like the beauty of life in some way, and that's yeah kind of in another life it's like in all these other ways I could have been that or this, but um I don't know, I think there's yeah some beauty looking at that, and also like it's yeah equally okay to like have moments where you're disappointed about those things, but I think also realizing that I don't know, there's always like another step forward or another door to open when one closes is a message I would like to share.
Yeah, and stuff to look forward to. We're going on tour in
He's good.
April and doing the East Coast, and then we'll. I don't. I guess I don't know if we're supposed to talk about that, but we're doing one in the fall too. um, yeah. So look for us on tour.
Where are you based? Okay, word. Dude, we'll get you to the we'll get you
Outside Philly.
on the list if you want to come through.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the Fillmore, right? That's what
Yeah.
Colgan was saying. Nice.
It'll be my birthday.
Your birthday.
I'm celebrate the death of my 20s.
Hey man, I've been there. I get it. Anybody
Yeah, it's
else?
like always. Yeah.
No, I feel like that was really
Got to
well said.
summarize.
Yeah, good job.
Well, guys, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know it's mid afternoon over there, so appreciate you taking the time. Pleasure having you guys on, and yeah, I can't wait to
Thank
hear
you.
the album. Can't wait to see you guys in April.
Sweet.
Absolutely,
Yeah, thanks so
man.
much for having us.
Looking forward to it.
Cool. Thanks,
All
man.
right, guys. Yeah, have a good one.
See ya.
See ya.